Welcome everyone to another edition of the State of the Marauders podcast, sponsored as always by our good friends at D1 Media Pro, the number one live stream in the state of New Jersey for high school sports. In episode number 99, we'll be discussing a lot of playoff action, including county titles for swimming, track, and wrestling, and another undefeated week for our basketball, bowling, and fencing teams. Also, find out who would win this week's Marauder Player of the Week award as we reveal another 5 new candidates for next week's award. We can always be found on any of your listening devices, on Apple, on Spotify, on Anchor, Google Podcast, any podcasting platform, ladies and gentlemen. You name it, we are there. So be sure to search State of the Marauders or follow us on our social media profile at SAT Marauders to see all of our exclusive Marauder content. As always, I am your host, Renato Rodriguez from the class of 2010. And ladies and gentlemen, we have a lot to dissect, a lot to talk about. So, let's start off with the news of the week. And as always, you could download the State of the Marauders app. That's linked on our social media profile at SOT Marauders. You get highlights, you get the podcast video form, you get tweets, you get live stream links, schedule updates, play the week voting links, anything Marauder Athletics. Just follow us at SOT Marauders. Download the app today. Get it right on your phone. That way, one-stop shop for everything. St. Peter's Prep Marauders. Also, again, YouTube channel at SOTM Network, in which we'll be posting some highlights, podcasts, and much more. So make sure you're liking and subscribing today by following us at SOTM Network on YouTube. And again, with the playoffs coming up for the basketball team, you want to have the Game Changer app to get all your life stats as the game happens. So, as I'm doing the tweets, as I'm doing the updates, and the text messaging surges as well, I'm also doing the live stats that go on NG.com at the end of the game. So, even if you're a fan of the opposing team that's facing St. Peter's Prep, you want to get the updates exclusively on the Game Changer app. We talked about last week, we were starting to get some spring schedules, playoff bracketology, and again, we're gonna have more updates on that at SOT Mars. But we're gonna dissect a little bracketology right now, ladies and gentlemen. There is the bracketology for wrestling. Okay, that's determined by the NJSIAA. For those of you looking on YouTube, you can see it on your screen. But for those of you listening on the podcast, I would tell you what the seeds are for the NJSIAA wrestling content bracket. So it's a little bit of a different format this year for wrestling, in which round one and the quarterfinals will both be held at the higher seed. So the number one seed, of course, the number one seed in the state of New Jersey, Del Barton. Number two, St. George Regional. And number three, in a little bit of a controversial fashion, Bergen Catholic over St. Peter's Prep. So those three teams are going to buy into the quarterfinals and will face the winners matchups, which we'll discuss in a little bit. But for our St. Peter's Prep Marauders, we're gonna have a three match home first round and quarterfinals on the same day on February 7th. That's on Tuesday, in which at 4 o'clock, Premise Catholic would take on Paul VI. At 5:30, St. Peter's Prep takes on Notre Dame in the first round matchups there, and then at 7 o'clock, in which it's most likely going to be St. Peter's Prep against Premise Catholic, a rematch of last year's state quarterfinals at the barn downtown Jersey City, 7 o'clock. The rematch, most likely. It's going to be an epic contest between the two programs. The winner of that matchup will most likely face Del Barton, who will take on in the quarterfinals the winner of St. Augustine at Pope John. And the other side of the bracket, St. Joe's Regional, the number 2 seed, taking the winner of St. Joe's Metuchen and St. All Prep in the quarterfinals. And then Bergen Catholic in their region will take on the winner of CBA and Don Bosco. So, a big stake on hand for the Marauders as a team this week for wrestling. I want to see how they did in their county tournament later on. But now let's quickly dissect the swimming bracket. Yes, swimming bracket. And the first 4 seeds got a bye into the quarterfinals, with the top 2 seeds getting a bye into the semifinals. So the top 2 seeds in the Marauders bracket here would be St. Augustine and Christian Brothers. Again, both brackets, wrestling and swimming, in non-public A action. So you got a mix of North and South Jersey powerhouses. So St. Augustine the 1, Christian Brothers the 2, your Marauders the 3 seed, which they will host the winners in the quarterfinals between Pingree and Del Barton, which the Marauders had beaten Del Barton earlier in the year. The match will be next Tuesday, 14th at SPU. In the St. Augustine side of the bracket, they go to the semifinals to take on the winner between Bergen Catholic and the winner of Seton Hall Pope John. So Bergen Catholic gets a bye into the quarters. Seton Hall Pope John face each other in the first round at Seton Hall. CBA gets a bye into the semifinals, in which they would take on the winner of the said matchup between St. Peter's and Del Barton and Pingree. And again, that semifinal set for Monday, February 20th at Raritan Bay YMCA Center. So that'll be your semifinals, and then the winner will face off the winner of the St. Augustine region in the final on February 26th. So there's a little bracketology for you there, but now, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to have a little bit of schedule to show you. Okay, a little bit of schedule to show you. And that is going to be the St. Peter's Prep baseball schedule. Yes. Spring schedule starting to be released one at a time. And the Marauders will open the season in the Hudson County final rematch against Ferris at Cathan Point. Unbelievable. They got Ferris and then they got Bayonne back to back start off the year. Whew. Whew. That's gonna be interesting. They got North Bergen at Pershing Field, ladies and gentlemen. Not Cathan Point. That's the only game at home this year that will not be at Cathan Point. Pershing Field on April 6th. The Marauders will go to Tennessee on April 14th, April 15th to face 2 national powerhouses in Lipscomb Academy and Ensworth. Then they have a little bit of a big road trip in the middle of the year. They're going to take on Passaic County Tech and Ferris, which is technically not really a road trip. But then they come back home. And I think the Ferris game, which is technically a home game, not really, but same field. The Ferris game, Bayonne, Bergen Catholic, St. Joe's Regional, Hudson Catholic, Union City. That stretch of games could be a big stretch right in the middle of the year. All home games for the Marauders. Then they take on Morris Knowles in the Thank You Classic as another important game. Then a big road trip, 5-game road trip, taking on the likes of Melbourne, North Hunterdon, both state powerhouses. And also you got county opponents, North Bergen, Kearney, and North Bergen again as well. Then they're going to take on North Hunterdon, St. Joe's Metuchen, and La Bosco. So that's going to be a good schedule for the Marauders this year. Very good schedule for the Marauders this year. So We will see. We will see what's going to happen with our St. Peter's Prep baseball Marauders. But stay tuned for more schedule updates, including the cross schedule and some brackets from the basketball team coming up this week as well. So let's get now into the nitty gritty of the program updates for the week. Hockey goes down to number 12 Pope John on senior night, 3-1. I was there at that game, and that was a tough matchup. 3-1 to number 14 Pope John. Matt January with the goal. 24 saves. Santo Petroselli with 18 saves in the contest as well. And speaking of ice hockey, head coach Brendan Roche also has an invitation out there to 6th and 7th graders in particular interested in ice hockey at the Ice Fall in Northern Jersey. So if you're interested, if you're 6th, 7th grader listening, interested in St. Peter's Prep hockey, trying to make an impression for the spring teams, please reach out to him via email, rocheb@spprep.org. So the Marauders are now 4-12-2 on the season. And in their next matchup, it's going to be the last regular season contest on Tuesday against number 6 ranked opponent in the Gordon Conference and in the state as well, Princeton Day. So in the basketball sphere, they have now won 5 in a row. A 4-win week for our Marauders in basketball this week. They defeated West Side 68-23, in which 3 Marauders had double figures, including Nico Pena, Peyton Miller, and Jackson Tilno, each having 13 points, with Nico and Payne having 4 assists and Jackson with 5 rebounds. And then came the big matchup, County in the barn, downtown Jersey City. We had a lot of 8th graders come in to watch that matchup. We had about 60 incoming members of the class of 2027, which start next year. So this was a fun game to watch from start to finish. And so let's hear from Renato Rodriguez, myself, and Ben Novosayolik on the call for this exciting matchup. So, fellas, let's take it away.
Tindo post up, reverse, goal! Tarosa, fakes, goes up from mid-range, Sagner passes up, stopped by Tindo, he's loose, lays it up for 2. 6-0 run for the Marauders to start the game, and we're gonna get time now. Kenya for 3, Torna Bene. On the attempt. No, to Tindo, with the reverse, and it goes. See what Coach Melbo draws up here. Kenya! Gets it! At the buzzer! Miller pokes it free. Euro step. Santiago drives. Possessions here, some good offensive possessions start the second half. Yeah, really. And Jameson has it. He drives. Oh, by Pena drives the guy from the corner. He got it to go. Bang! Winslow low post to Pena. Another try. There he goes. Nico Pena from downtown. To Tindo. Oh, that was pretty from Jackson. Tip to Tindo. Tindo's going. He gets it to Pena from the corner. There he goes, Nico Pena. Armour. And he goes for the layup. Jordan Armour. Armour cuts in. And right from the corner. Doesn't go. Rebound by Jordan Bennett. Waters are going to hold. Dribble it out. The game ends 48-18.
And boy, what a statement for the Marauders in that game, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, you talk about how loud that crowd was at the barn. It's playoff-esque downtown Jersey City. And they absolutely destroyed them 48-18, in which the score was 32-4 at halftime. Bayonne didn't even score a bucket in the first quarter. I mean, that was a serious statement by the Marauders there. Nico Pena, 15 points, 3 rebounds. Jackson Tyndall, 11 points, 3 rebounds. Payne Miller, 5 points, 3 assists as well. So then they take on number 15 ranked Saddle River Day, top 20 matchup state of Jersey. And Ben Osek was on the call again, alongside Ignacio Maro for the game against Saddle River Day. So, gentlemen, let's take it away.
And gives it right back to Kinsler. Good interception there by Kinsler as he drives. And he lays it in for two. Gives it to Tyndall. Pulls up. Connects on the three-pointer. Jackson Tyndall. Continue in house. Oh, good block there by Ben Guy. Pena lays it in. Miller tries from three and connects. Peyton Miller from way down here. To Tyndall. Lays it in.
Have not been able to convert.
They really haven't. Matt Kinsler went 1 for 2 from the foul line. Jackson Tyndall on the reverse. Lays it in. Pena drives, stops to Santiago to Rosa. Rosa, floater, gets it to go. Shipped away by Miller. Miller to Rosa. Rosa drives to Pena. Good move there by Nico Pena. To Tyndall. Tyndall drives. It's blocked, gets the rebound. Doesn't go. Tyndall still has it. Around, that was pretty from Jackson Tyndall. Can't get that. Peyton Miller takes it up. And he starts driving. Oh, good play there by Peyton Miller. As there is some intense trap defense. Ball is stolen. Kinsler lays it in. Rebound by Richie Rosa to Santiago. He fakes the three, drives in to Pena. He goes from three and connects. Nico Pena from downtown. Guy getting double teams. Rosa for three, knocks it down. Tyndall, nice feed. Pena steals, he drives. What a move by Nico Pena. Miller gets the ball. To Tyndall for the layup.
That'll just about do it here.
Miller. To Kinsler for the layup. And that is game 60-45. The final score.
And another 3 guys in double figures for the Marauders. Jackson Tyndall led the race, 16 points, 4 blocks. Matt Kinsler, 13 points, 7 rebounds, 3 steals. Nico Pena, 11 points, 4 rebounds, and 3 steals. Then they head to my alma mater, Kane University, in the Metro Classic, and they won by 19 points over Lyndhurst, 63-44. Jackson Tyndall with a double-double, 20 points, 10 rebounds. Payne Miller, 17 points, 5 assists, 5 steals. And Ben Guy and Sam Tornabetti each having 7 points. So they're now 18-3. They're 11 points ahead of Seton Hall Prep for the number 2 seed in the state right now. Big week ahead on tap as they take on Schneider today on Monday, 4:30 at the barn. Then they go to High Tech because of the wrestling match to take on St. Benedict's, nationally ranked St. Benedict's, mind you. And then they'll take on Pioneer Academy on Saturday, in which that game may or may not be postponed, so stay tuned for that. But those are the 3 games on docket for the St. Peter's Prep Marauders. So the wrestling team, as we mentioned before, they are now county champions once again, in which they headed off to Union City High School for the Hudson County Duels. They took on Weehawken in the first one. Oh boy, ladies and gentlemen, it wasn't even close. 84 to nothing. You heard that right. 84 to nothing. We start off with Sal Bormetti winning by forfeit at 106. At 113, his brother Anthony Bormetti would get the pinfall at 110. At 120, Joseph Ash would win by forfeit. At 126, John McClellan would also win by forfeit. At 132, Oscar Gluckow would get the pin at 304. Angelo Pellicci would win by forfeit at 138. At 144, Jonathan Fona also wins by forfeit. At 150, Joseph Rojas would also win by forfeit. Allow forfeits and pins here. At 157, Anthony Verdi would get the pin at 209. At 165, Carmen Morano would get the pin at 253. At 175, Sean Wendells gets a forfeit. At 190, Anthony Harris gets a pin in 50 seconds. At 215, Dominic Latino gets a pin at 129. And at 285, Conor Reynolds gets the forfeit win. So they would advance to the semifinals to take on Bayonne. And once again, we start off at 113 this time with Sal Bormetti winning by forfeit. But at 120, Lorenzo Liberti also winning a forfeit to make it a 6-6 contest. But then John McClellan would get the pin at 126 at 240 to make it 12-6. At 138, Angelo Pellicci would get the pin to make it 18-11 Marauders. At 144, Jonathan Foe with a 5-point technical fall to make it 23-11. Joseph Rojas got the pin at 157 to make it 29-14. Starting off a pin barrage for the Marauders, in which they got 5 consecutive pins, including Anthony Verdi at 165, Carmen Morano at 175, Anthony Harris at 190, and then ending up with Dominic Latini at 215. Before Conor Reynolds would win by decision, and then Anthony Bormetti would win by forfeit at 106. And then in the championship matchup, they took on North Bergen, and North Bergen got out to a 12-0 lead. But then the Marauders decided to go a lot unanswered. Let's find out how many unanswered. As Oscar Gluckow gets the pin at 132, Angelo Pellicci with pin at 138 to tie it up at 12. John Teflono wins by forfeit to make it 18-12 Marauders. Before Norbergen comes back with a pin to make it 18-18. And then it was all Marauders the rest of the way. Joseph Rojas, Anthony Verdi gets pinfalls there. 5-point technical foul for Norbergen before a couple pins and forfeits the rest of the way. Anthony Harris and Dominic Latini with forfeit wins. Conor Reynolds with a pin at 531. Anthony Bormetti with a pin at 106. And then Sal Bormetti again winning by forfeit to win the championship 60-23. Congratulations again for your 16th time consecutive Hudson County champions. Next up, again, we talked about the brackets. I'm going to show you the bracket one more time for the people watching at home or listening into the podcast. Okay. We're going to look at it from the Marauder side. They take on Notre Dame. 5:30 start on Tuesday. Paramus Catholic takes on Paul VI at 4 p.m. The winner of that one will face up at the quarterfinal at 7 p.m. that same day. So 3 matches potentially on one day, and the winner of that one will most likely take on Del Barton. Next up on the docket, we got swimming also winning their county championship. Although we do not have the exact results, we're still waiting on that right now. So hopefully by the next podcast, we'll get that to you. But we do know, as we talked about before, their seeding for the state tournament. Will we play that one more time? They got a bye into the quarterfinals, in which they'll take on the winner of Pingree and Del Barton, and that's going to be on February 14th at SPU. That should be a 4:45 start. In other news in the program, we had track again. So we had 3 county champions this week in wrestling, swimming, and track. And in those indoor championships at the 55-meter hurdles for the varsity guys, we had Chad Trammell in first place at a time of 7.7. Corey Greenfield right behind him in second. For the freshman guys, Chad Stone wins it at a time of 9.17. And the 55-meter dash for the varsity guys, Andres Perez, the speedster wide receiver, wins it at a time of 6.63. Jam Shank in third, Isaiah Polanco in sixth. For the freshman guys, you had Neko Luzzy Liggins winning the race with Matt Pecco in third and Christian Cruz in fourth. And the 3,200-meter run for the varsity guys, Theodore McCarthy won at a time of 9:49.85, with Richard Harrington ending up in second. With the freshman guys, you had Cheyenne Hurley winning the race at 10:32.65, with Kabir Farnham in fourth. And the 400-meter dash for the varsity guys, you had Del Lindsay at first at a time of 50.75. Corey Wheelfield second, Jason Peterson third. So a 1-2-3 finish for our Marauders in that race. For the freshman, Matt Pecco, last year's Marauder Player of the Week nominee, would win the race at a time of 54.03. Hunter Watson in second, Chad Stone in third, Christian Cruz in fourth, Nathan Herbert in fifth. A 1-5 finish there for the freshman Marauders. For the JV guys, Nelson Lindsay, brother Del Lindsay, would win the race at a time of 53.98. Xavier Mack in second, and Anson Hart in fourth. And the 800-meter run varsity, Colin Rutledge in third place with Tommy O'Brien in fifth. For the freshman, Aiden Dunn would win at a time of 2:13.29, with Zane Fritz in second and Eli Farmer in sixth. In the JV 800-meter run, with another 1-2-3 finish from Marauders, Nate Palmerino in first place, Daniel Nemeth in second, Luigi Lanzalotti in third, and Peter Franco in fifth. In the 1600-meter run for the freshman, again, Cheyenne Hurley wins it at a time of 5:08.61. Liam Teleska in second, with Kabir Farnham in fifth. In the 1600-meter run for the varsity guys, Taran Moran in first place at a time of 4:40.94. And then right behind him in second place with a time of 4:40.96 is Alex Schimmel. So very competitive race for the prep guys there. In JV, Danny Kramer to win at a time of 4:58.75. Alex Giattino in third, Luke Schreiber in sixth. In shot put, Brandon Montemayor ends up in fourth. In high jump to end it up, Zion Fowler, the wide receiver, wins the high jump at a score of 6-4. So the overall team scores, ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna like this number. In the varsity side, the varsity would win the Hudson County title by a score of 119-30 over second place Schneider, and the freshman team will win at 113-18 over Union City. So boy, what a dominant effort. Domination by our track Marauders in the Hudson County Championships. And then they would go to the New York City Armory for the Purple Championship Invitational. In the 55-meter dash, Jam Shank ends up in 8th. In the 200-meter dash, Isaiah Polanco in 6th. Del Lindsay in 9th. Neko Luzzy Liskins, a freshman, in 10th. And the 400-meter dash, Del Lindsay would win that race as well at a time of 50.18. And the 800-meter dash, Jason Peterson in 4th. Colin Rutledge in 8th. In the 1600-meter race, Theodore McCarthy would end up in 7th. And the 3,200-meter race, a new school record broken by Alex Schimmer, ends up in 3rd place with a time of 9:25.32, with Taran Moran in 5th. And the 55-meter hurdles, to end it up, Corey Greenfield ends up in 3rd, with Chad Trammell in 4th. Next up, they have the SJTCA Winter Meet on February 13th. So, coming up next, now we got the fencers, who be state powerhouse. Number 8 ranked St. Benedict's Prep, 14-13, big win for the Marauders. They are now, I believe, 8-4 on the season. At Sabre, Ty Flott with 3 wins. Elijah Jones and Luca Mendoza with 1 win each. At Foil, Brendan Raleigh also with 3 wins. Eli Anderson with 2 wins. Sebastian Bonomo with 1 win. At Epi, we had Ryan Devon getting 2 wins, with Niall Zaki getting 1 win. We are still awaiting results of the District 4 championships in North Herndon, but based on just some news that I received, I believe the Marauders got third place to state tournament, I believe. But again, we're still waiting official results for that. So stay tuned to next week's podcast for all those results. And next up for your fencers, they take on Eagle Academy of Newark on Tuesday. For your bowlers, they are now 12-2 in the season as they got clean sweeps of Hudson County Towers, McNair, and Hudson Catholic this week. 7-0 each in the matchup against McNair. Andrew Diaz bowled a team high of 614. John Cases with 538. And Rocco Barone with a score of 510. And in the matchup against Hudson Catholic, Andrew Diaz leading the way with a score of 593. Luca Barone with a score of 545. And Gavin Rutledge with a score of 544 to lead the way for your bowling Marauders. Loudoun County actually coming up now for bowling. They got the position week bowling matchup today. Then the Hudson County League Championship on Wednesday before facing off in the overall county championship next Monday, and the King of Queens after that as well. So a lot of high stake bowling action for your Marauders. So stay tuned for all those updates. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for all the program updates of the week. But first, before we reveal the Marauder Player of the Week award, we have a message from Student Club President Ben Novasiola to the student body. So, Ben, let's take it away.
Hey everyone, this is Junior Ben Novoselic, the president of the State of the Marauder Sports Reporters Club. If you're a student at St. Peter's Prep and you want to get involved with sports media or broadcasting, come to one of our club meetings. Dates and times of the meetings will be published on the daily announcements, but if you want more information, you can just email me at novosiolicb24@students.spprep.org. We look forward to seeing you guys.
Well, thank you, Ben, for the announcement. Again, if you're a student prep, you're interested in broadcasting sports, if you're interested in social media updating, or if you're interested in doing anything with prep athletics in terms of promotion, broadcasting, the likes, make sure you join us every 8 day in the Browning Center during communion period right after homework. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's now time to reveal the winners of this week's Marauder Player of the Week award. And again, let's go through the candidates from last week one more time. We had Richie Rosa from basketball, Frankie Precop from swimming, Connor Reynolds from wrestling, Luca Barone from bowling, and Matt Petco from track. And the winner, ladies and gentlemen, 43% of the vote. This freshman from the track team, Matt Petco. Congratulations to Matt for this tremendous accomplishment. And now we have another 5 new nominees for next week's award. First off, this guy had a double-double in the game against the Learners. He's been dominant all week long. Jackson Tyndall. This guy from the wrestling team had 3 pins in the Hudson County tournament. Anthony Verdi, super freshman. This guy also dominated on the track spear with a couple first place finishes. Dell Lindsay. This guy, the captain of the fencing team, with another 3-win victory, Ty Flott. And the guy who led the way for the bowling team this week, Andrew Diaz. So, Make sure you continue to vote for who you think should be the Marauder Player of the Week for this week. And remember, voting will end on February 11th. That's this Saturday at 11:59 p.m. You can only vote once on the app, so make sure you vote who you think should be this week's Marauder Player of the Week. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that is going to do it for another edition of the State of the Marauders podcast. Next week, episode number 100. I can't believe we're up to 100 episodes already. I want to thank you all for tuning in. And I want to continue to spread the word of the State of Mars podcast. We got a lot of followers out there. We appreciate you all, but we want to continue to spread throughout the state of New Jersey, throughout the country. So let's continue to do that by sharing our social media profile at SFT Marauders to everyone you know, and continue to check them out for all of the latest updates. We'll be back on the docket next week to recap another week of Marauder action. Thank you to everyone again, and as always, let's go. Crap.